My goal in creating this project was to showcase two different features within marketing stream that when I talk to people in the space, I think are either less known about or less utilized. And that is some of the placement data that comes in through performance data sets, and then also the budget data set as a whole. And that's what I have on the screen here that I'll walk you through to show you how it works. What I find when I talk to people in the space is that the hourly data for performance far overshadows in popularity the budget percent used data set. And I think that not only is it highly useful, but it can be difficult to wrangle all the data in such a way that you can actually put it into good use, especially when you're dealing with an agency that has account managers managing, a dozen, 2 dozen accounts. So trying to actually make this data flow to them in a meaningful way can be difficult. And so I try to come up with a working solution that would help them put this to good use. And so what I did was create a tagging system that sits on top of all the campaigns. And we're integrating the Slack API, which is something we do at BTR Media, to send out meaningful messages to the account managers for the only data that they need to know about. So what we have on the screen here is all the campaigns that are in the account. And these are some tags that I've applied as default. This is the budget amount that the campaign is set to. And then this is the percent of budget that has been used so far. To set this up, we can go in here, and these are the tags that I've already added. I'm just going to remove some of these just to show the functionality. So right now at this point, we only have ranking. So if we go back here, all that we'll see that we can apply is this tag. So you would first determine what the meaningful way to tag the account is. What we find is a lot of the time breaking it out by strategy. So ranking, conquesting, profitability, brand defense, whatever you want to do, maybe product lines. There's several different ways to approach it. But right now we have ranking applied. So let's add awareness and profitability to this. So now we have these three tags that we're working with. And what we next determine is, of the campaigns that we tag, which ones do we want to actually receive alerts for when they go over the spend percent threshold? Because a lot of the times what I found is that if you have auto campaigns or profitability campaigns, they're going to run out of budget. And I'm not really so concerned about that. But around like the holidays or temple events, or if I'm trying to rank to get better organic position, I want to really keep track of the conquesting and ranking campaigns to really monitor how they're doing throughout the day, but also if they're running out of budget too early. So let's set this to rank. Let's just leave that at ranking right now. So all we're going to receive alerts for is ranking. We're sending an alert if it goes above 80% of the daily budget used. And I just have myself set in here right now. If you have your Slack API token and you add that into the script, you would see all of the, members in your Slack business channel, whatever you want to call it, that would be available. You could add to this, and you could add as many of them as you want to. So if you have multiple account managers on one brand, you could add all of them here. So right now we're sending just DMs to me for ranking campaigns that are above 80% or more of their budget. And so we have, just to make sure that we tag this correctly, we have 2 rows that are going to receive an alert for this. So let's just add awareness to all of them. I think it was ranking that's going to get the alert. So the idea here would be that if we could filter for things that we want. So if we want to only get alerts for ranking campaigns, we just search the word ranking here. Because none of these have the word ranking in them, we're going to have to cheat a little bit. Let's just say that this one has the word ranking in it. Everything that is showing down here is what this tag will have applied to it. So right now, if I hit this, it's going to apply ranking to this. Again, not ideal because the nomenclature doesn't actually have the word that I need in it. I didn't think about that beforehand when I was building this out. But okay, so we now have at least one campaign that when I run this, it's going to send an alert. So now that this is set, the next step would be if we go to the budget alerts Python module. Normally what I would do is there are several AWS products that can support doing this. What I like to do is either EC2 or even Elastic Beanstalk and set up a cron schedule. So I could have this run once every, say, 30 minutes. And every 30 minutes, it would look at all the new stream data in the database. It would find the most recent spend amounts for those campaigns. It would only look for the ones that are above that threshold, that have that tag associated with it. And when we run this, I'll have my Slack open here as well. I'm expecting the people that are testing this aren't going to have their Slack tokens added, so it will end up just printing the message in the terminal. But I have an Armory alerts set up here. So if we run this, again, this is just simulating what would normally be done automatically. So this is running right now, and it printed out this message. And if we go back to Slack, you can see that it just sent this. It's saying the following campaigns are 80% above daily budget. And it would normally list all of them out below it with the amount that they've actually used, which is 98.4% on this campaign right here, which is exactly what we see right here. And so again, as an account manager myself who's been in the trenches and I've managed a lot of accounts at one time, the budget data set has useful information. But unless you're filtering it in such a way that you're only getting the most meaningful campaign spend updates when they're actually important, like I don't care if it's 20% or 40% used. I want to know when it's like really close to being used, and I want to know specifically if it's the campaigns that I need to keep an eye on. I think that giving people something to look at, a system like this, will help them to configure in their mind, like, how can I actually implement this across the agency or across the brand as a whole?